kickstart the conversation, part of the key issues that we need to look at is to what extent is the legislative environment, sort of the public policies, enable or disable the issue of sustainability and resource allocation. And I'll give a bit of a context. I know that in many parts of the continent, community broadcasters, they are set up and there is virtually no support for it. It's almost like you've been set up, you've been given a license, and you have to go out and fend for yourself. And once you find yourself in that space, you are then competing with commercial operators who've got heavy investment that comes in, as well as the public broadcasters and the state broadcasters. And oh, by the way, there's a difference between the state broadcasting and the public broadcasting. But for purpose of this conversation, let's view them as one thing. They're usually funded by governments. And those guys have got, deep pockets, and therefore the sustainability is not basically an issue. They get funded through government funding, as well as some of them license fees and so on and so on. But for community broadcasters, we are usually out on our own. So in some countries, in South Africa, for instance, there is then a regulatory framework that has been put in place that recognizes the 3 tiers of broadcasting. And that says that there shall be community broadcasting, commercial broadcasting, as well as public broadcasting, and post the establishment of those regulatory framework. Then there was a key question about how to put up an enabling supporting mechanism. What would be this enabling supporting mechanism? Because there will be communities that will be existing in poverty pockets, and you cannot expect those communities to be self-sustainable. You cannot expect the advertising industry to support those communities, especially in rural communities. Therefore, it might just be a bit of a problem for those operators. So therefore, the enabling mechanism was such that we had to put together a funding institution called now the Media Development and Diversity Agency, whose sole purpose is to then fund community broadcasting. And the MDDA then gets its funding through government taxes and through commercial operators get taxed. There's a particular level of levy, a tax and a levy that they pay, that gets collected and gets distributed to community broadcasters. And they're also given an opportunity for them to compete with everybody else in the market from an advertising space. So this is one particular model that we see. It has its own pitfalls because it then creates dependency, as the earlier topic was talking about. So now, for an interesting question I want to put forward, maybe to my panel, is that, how does things work in other parts of the continent? How do we see public policy as an enabler, or maybe as a deterrent, especially when there is suspicion of government control? Because in some areas, people may feel that government may want to control by giving money to the community broadcasters. Therefore, there's a level of control which may create a bit of a problem from an independence perspective. And I know that, as David and Mohammed has said, as practicing journalists, the last thing you want is to have government breathing down your neck, because you want that freedom of expression for you to do what you need to do and to be left alone to do what you need to do.